Maryland's Missing and the Murdered is a weekly YouTube channel that covers the topic of missing and or murdered individuals from the state of Maryland. If you like this channel, please like and subscribe and click the bell so you'll be notified when the next cases are released. Any updates to cases will be pinned in the comments section of each video.
This week we are covering the deaths of 4 children. 2-month-old Aubree Roberts was living at home with her mother Hannah and grandmother Rebecca in Forest Hill, Maryland. On April 18, 2013, Aubree was sleeping in her bassinet when Hannah and Rebecca needed to run to Edgewood really quick. So Rebecca asked her son and Aubree's uncle, 22-year-old Colin Wolf, to watch her around 9:50 p.m. When Hannah and Rebecca returned an hour later, Rebecca saw Colin come out of Aubree's room carrying a plastic bag. Colin told her that he was just taking out the trash. Rebecca then went in to check on Aubree. Aubree was found tangled in the bumper pad, which was not how Rebecca left her. Aubree's face was bruised and her nose was bloody. Rebecca immediately called 911. Colin had fled the home at this point. A friend of Colin's called Rebecca and told her he just saw Colin, who told him what happened at the house and that, quote, Hannah did not deserve a baby, end quote, so he punched Aubree to kill her. Aubree was taken to the hospital where she unfortunately succumbed to her injuries. Police picked Colin up from his friend's home and charged him with murder. He told police that he sprayed Aubree in the face with Axe body spray and then punched her, leading her brain to hemorrhage. Colin Wolf pleaded guilty to first-degree murder on December 18, 2015, and was sentenced to 33 years. On December 18, 1992, at 8 a.m. in Baltimore, Maryland, a neighbor came to the high-rise apartment of Peggy Allen to take her 7-year-old daughter, Tanisha Allen, to school. Her mom, 24-year-old Peggy Allen, called police at 8 a.m. for help, as 7-year-old Tanisha Allen was found deceased in her 14th floor high-rise apartment. Peggy Allen had allegedly put her 2-year-old twin daughters to sleep the night before, with Tanisha asleep 10 feet away. She told police that someone must have entered through a kitchen window and attacked Tanisha. Peggy claimed she didn't wake up, which police claimed was impossible due to Tanisha's injuries, and Tanisha would have screamed. Cause of death was suffocation after being raped and sodomized. Evidence showed that Peggy had participated with the alleged killer's actions. An eyewitness, Rachella Smith, came forward and said that Lamel Antonio Dixon and William Philip Holland were taking turns in assaulting Tanisha. She testified that she saw Tanisha being raped by the men while her mother Peggy watched. Smith testified that she went to the apartment that night to get her food stamp card back and barged past Peggy to get in the apartment to get it. Once she got in the apartment, the attack on Tanisha had already happened. She saw Dixon with his pants off and Holland was on top of little Tanisha. Smith ran from the apartment. She did not come forward immediately because she was threatened by Dixon. Dixon's DNA was found on Tanisha's body. When the 2 men were arrested, they claimed they were on a crack binge the night of the crime. Peggy Allen was also charged with murder, but charges were dropped due to lack of evidence. Lamel Dixon was found guilty of first-degree murder on January 25, 1995, and sentenced to life. He appealed in 2005, which was denied. William Holland was found guilty of rape on March 8, 1995 and sentenced to 30 years. As of August 21st, 2025, they are still incarcerated. 9-year-old Christopher Ausherman lived in Frederick, Maryland. On November 19, 2000, he was lured away from his home by a man to buy Pokemon cards. A 911 came in to report a beaten boy in the park. Christopher was found in the dugout at McCurdy Field deceased. He was naked, sexually assaulted, beaten, and strangled. The call that came in to 911 was from the perpetrator himself. The perpetrator was Elmer Spencer Jr., who had just been released on parole 4 days prior. He was in prison for sexual assault of a child, and he had served only 4 years out of a 10-year sentence. Surveillance video from a nearby store captured Spencer buying the Pokemon cards, which was found in Christopher's pocket. Chris's blood was on Spencer's shoes and clothes. Spencer was found guilty of first-degree murder, kidnapping, and sexual assault. Spencer was sentenced to life without parole on February 20th, 2001. Christopher law was passed in Maryland, which gives an automatic life sentence without parole for defendants with a history of child sex assaults. Christopher's parents received a $200,000 settlement from the state of Maryland. However, Christopher's mom, Mary, was reunited with her son when she died in 2016. 11-year-old Irvin Harris lived in Baltimore, Maryland, and helped people in the neighborhood with their groceries so he could buy cat food for the stray cats behind his house. His mom, Shonda, was a recovering heroin addict, and Irvin's dad was in prison. Shonda allowed 52-year-old Melvin Jones to babysit Irvin and his siblings. On July 4th, 2006, there was a 911 call at the Inner Harbor where a man, Jones, had put his hands on a child's neck, who was Irvin, and was threatening to kill him.
Oh, shit.
Then on January 28th, 2006, Irvin disappeared after going to Bel Air Food Market. Police investigating the disappearance began talking to the children in the Harris home. They told them that they saw Irvin in bed with Melvin Jones. In investigating Jones, police learned that Jones pleaded guilty to sexually assaulting a 4-year-old girl and his family, and admitted in 2002 of sexually assaulting a teenage boy. On January 31st, Irvin's body was found behind Berea Lutheran Church, which was a block from his home on Longview Avenue. He had been stabbed 21 times. Melvin Jones was charged with first-degree murder, and Irvin's mom, Shonda, was charged with child neglect, alleging that she failed to protect her children from Jones, whom she knew was a sexual predator. Jones was found guilty on September 27, 2007, and sentenced to 50 years. Shonda Harris was found guilty of child neglect and given a suspended sentence. She violated her probation in 2010, and in 2012 she was living in Hagerstown and was arrested then for heroin possession. Thank you for joining me this week. If there is a Maryland's missing or murdered case you'd like to see on this channel, email me at marylandsmissing@gmail.com. My X account is Maryland's M&M. Music is by Silent Vengeance. Sources will be listed in the outro. I'll see you again next week. Be kind to one another. You never know what will happen tomorrow.